Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Reverse Mentor Roundup interview series today. My name is Megan Lovett, and I am a manager on our third-party manufacturing procurement team and also the Global Supply Chain Reverse Mentor Community Manager. And I'm joined by my fellow community manager, Alex Later, who's also a project manager on our Global Supply Chain Fast Action team. And we're so excited to have the opportunity to spotlight our first Global Supply Chain Reverse Mentor pair in the interview series today. So we have with us Alyssa Kressel, who's our Vice President of Global Corporate Affairs and Value Chain Communications, and her reverse mentor, Marco Serrano, who's an MPS planner in Wallerau, Switzerland. So thank you both for joining us today and featuring you in our Reverse Mentor Roundup interview series. So with that, Alex, I'll hand it over to you to ask the first question.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you, Alyssa and Marcos, for participating in this wonderful series. So the first question is about the formats and focus of your meetings with Marcos. So for Alyssa, how do you decide which topics you would like to explore together?
Yeah, so the reverse mentorship program has a pretty well thought out structure where each time that we connect, we have a topic that, is our homework assignment that Marcos usually has a formal presentation to go through. But I'd say that we usually start our sessions together pretty informal, since we don't get to connect maybe as often as we'd like to. When we hop on Teams together, we usually are catching up on things related to our personal life, but also just what's going on at work, the state of the business, things like that. And it's pretty informal. And then we usually transition to Marcos taking the lead on sharing a presentation with me, teaching about a certain topic that all of the reverse mentors are going through. So anything from circularity to super apps, those have been the kind of things we've discussed. And then I think we also make sure that we usually organically kind of brainstorm a little bit after that presentation on how it could be related to our day jobs or how it could be related to the supply chain, how we can put some of it into action.
Awesome. Yeah, I know these relationships always kind of take a kind of life of their own, and I love to see the kind of personal mixed with the professional, and it's a great way these relationships really get built over time. So Megan, I'll hand it over to you for the next question.
Yeah. So the next question we have is for Marcos. So Marcos, is you're part of the planning organization of the business, and Alyssa is our head of communications. How do you two kind of navigate your working relationship, given that you operate in, such different areas of the business and also regions of the company?
Yes, I would say in any type of human relationship, you start by looking for common ground, right? So what do we have in common? And as Alicia mentioned, part of our connects, we were discussing topics of our personal life. We soon realized that we both have families with small kids, so we are, together in the challenge of the daily logistics of taking the kids to the daycare, going to the office, picking the kids up afterwards, keeping them alive, trying to be happy, trying to have time with your partner. We both love skiing. We both love and are interested in sustainability. So, right, we kind of use those topics at the beginning, at least to kind of break the ice. But that was pretty easy with her. And from there, we could start discussing work-related topics. And not only the topics that were defined in the mentoring moments, but also other relevant topics that for the things that were going on in the company, like the strategy cascade, the PRGP, the organizational updates on the leadership teams and things that were relevant in the moments when we had the connects. So and then soon enough, I realized that Alicia has an impressive network within ELC, and that was something very important during our connects. It was also for me empowering to be able to bring my own experiences to the discussion, to lead from my chair and to kind of bring my own problems, my own challenges, my own area of expertise to the discussions, to the meeting with Alyssa. Telling her what is going on this side of the oceans, what initiatives are we having here in Wallerau, for example. So that was also for me important to be able to not only receive but also to give, right?
Yeah, that's great. I think even with just these first two questions, we can see how great of a relationship you guys have personally and professionally. So thanks for sharing, Marcos. The next question, Alex, I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, so the next question we have for Alyssa. So Alyssa, in what ways do you incorporate the ideas that Marcus brings to you brings to your meetings into your role?
Yeah, so he just mentioned that we're kind of an ocean apart. So I think a lot of times, working in the GM building in New York City, people have a certain mindset on that everyone might know the same thing that we're hearing here. And it's helpful to be talking to Marcus to have kind of a litmus test on an announcement that might come out here that hasn't made its way across the ocean. So from a communication standpoint, just having relationships with people within all different parts of the supply chain, different teams, different geographies, is really just helpful to hear how different communications may or may not be landing. So that's first, just something that's helpful. Also, you mentioned before, I handle communications, so my expertise is not in supply chain. So speaking with someone regularly with such in-depth planning knowledge has been helpful just to help me continue to learn about the day-to-day work that our teams do, especially when I've been working on some projects related to planning communications. It helps me better understand just that area. Another thing, just more related to, I guess, the presentations that Marcos gives and that the broader reverse mentor team gives. I'm always looking, like I mentioned before, to see like what can we make that's tangible out of these presentations. So they're not just like great learnings, but how do we actually put them into action? So from where I sit in communications, there's been different opportunities like for, again, super apps is something that comes to mind. When I learned about that, I learned about how popular they are in APAC, and I had reached out to the Sakura team to see if there was something that we could do together. For example, Marcus mentioned my network, so I'm always thinking like who else needs to know about this and who else can I pull in so that we can turn this into something. Even circularity, for example, was another area that Marcus is really passionate about. And when he shared an update with me about that, and that was a project that he helped lead with the Reverse Mentors, I made a connection to people on the Global Corporate Citizenship and Sustainability team. And I'm forgetting what other team. Oh, the New Incubation Ventures and others, to try to see again, like what else can we do around this topic. So I've learned a lot, like personally, I guess, but also I think in terms of how to benefit my day job in communications, it's how can we keep spreading this knowledge to others in the supply chain who aren't part of this program, others at ELC, and make sure that this is really getting out there to the most people possible.
Yeah, that's also awesome to hear. I mean, I feel like I know when you guys have your mentoring moments because I always see an email after with us CC'd saying, hey,
Exactly.
just learned about this great initiative. So I mean, I think that's like an important foundation, right, for the reverse mentor group of having this kind of knowledge that we can transfer from not only our seats in the program, but also to our leaders to then spread the wealth across the business. So next I'll pass to Megan.
So back to you, Marcos. So we know this is technically a reverse mentor program, but we know mentorship also works in both ways. So we'd love to hear from you kind of how you have leveraged Alyssa's insights and experience as you continue to grow personally and also professionally in your career.
So as mentioned, Alyssa has an impressive network within ELC. But more importantly, I think she was kind enough to share her network with me. And figure as a sort of a sponsor during this introduction, which certainly gave the connection a much more relevance, right? That if I had reached out by myself to someone, that would have been a different maybe outcome. So, well, she mentioned two examples when we discussed about super apps. Then, yes, she reached out to the Sakura team, but the example I like the most because it's some topic that I have keep it close to my heart is the circularity and sustainability one. So after the second mentoring moment, Alyssa put me in contact with Ryan and Laura from the new business development team, and we could have a further discussion on how circularity, in this case, is a criterion incorporated when reviewing new ventures, how the teams does it, to what extent is included. So that was for me like an eye opener and a super nice experience. It was very interesting to realize that any idea that is business relevant can actually be implemented or is already implemented simply by knowing the right person or the right team. So that was for me very, very interesting to see. Also, I could learn a lot from Alyssa on effective communication just by reading her emails or by meeting with her, the way she addresses different audiences, the way she tells the story of the message in an effective way, simple, clear, relevant. I loved reading her emails. And those are definitely skills that I need to develop, and who better to learn it from than the Vice President of Value Chain Communication, right?
I'm glad
And
someone
finally,
enjoys my emails.
sorry?
I'm glad someone enjoys reading my emails.
Love them. I love them. And well, finally, maybe the simple fact of being exposed to a member of the supply chain leadership team, someone working directly with Roberto, is in itself a training on leadership skills, right? I wouldn't have this opportunity otherwise. Just to give an example, and she just mentioned that she's very pragmatic, right? After our first mentoring moment, she asked, okay, so what do we do now? Like, how do we bring this to the right people to, implement this, to see this being used? So then I knew that, okay, for my second mentoring moment, I need to come better prepared. I need to come with an action plan, which also forced me to ask the question to the team, okay, guys, nice topic. What do we do from here? And you mentioned also, Megan, and Alex, that you knew when we had a connect because there was an email coming out of that meeting. And that's something that I really like. Like, I feel that the work we do is valued and has a potential of implementation. So it's not just a nice presentation. So yeah, I think that that has been a very, very enriching experience at a personal level for me.
Thanks, Marco. It's really great to hear all of the mutual kind of learning and value sharing between the pairing. So, Alex, handing it over to you for our last question.
So for the last question, we would love to end the interview with some words of inspiration for our reverse mentor community. So Alyssa, do you have any advice you would give to your younger self or to the reverse mentor community at ELC?
Yeah, so I think that, okay, so that's a tough one, but two separate questions. So for my younger self, I feel like I would give the advice of being confident and recognizing kind of what you're bringing to the table, and don't be nervous to speak up and share your perspective. I guess that's probably the same message to the community. I think at ELC, it's nice that we already embrace reverse mentorship so much by having this kind of program. But I would say, even if you're not a member of the reverse mentor community and you're an average ELC employee, I think it's recognize what you bring to the table, that you have unique expertise, you have unique perspectives, and don't be afraid to share them with people that are in more senior leadership roles. We can all learn something from people, peers, from people more senior than us, more junior than us, etc. And I think that's one of the things that just makes our company so great, is that we all are looking to have a seat at the table and valuing what each other are thinking and suggestions and ideas. You never know where the next idea is going to come from. So I think just embrace kind of the focus on relationships at ELC, and don't be afraid to speak up and share your perspective.
Awesome. Those are the words we like to try to live by as reverse mentors, of speaking up and, taking what you've learned and what you're seeing in your seat and bringing it back to the company, and having that confidence to do so. So love to hear that. Megan, I will hand it off to you to close it out.
Yeah, so I think that's all we have for today. Alyssa, Marcos, thank you both so much for allowing us to feature you in our Reverse Mentor Roundup interview series and for sharing your experiences and learnings throughout the program. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yes, it's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
both.